Guys, welcome. Today I want to show you how to take a drawing that I scanned into the computer and add it to a photograph. Oops, like this. And then what we're going to do is take out the black lines, or take out, not the black lines, take out the all that stuff so that you can see the image and then you can resize it and even change the color like this or do whatever you want. But let me show you how to get started. So to begin, you're going to need your portrait ready to go, and you'll also need the image scanned into the computer. And I'm going to take this image and grab it and bring it over into my portrait. So to do that, I go to this image, I say select all or Command A, and so I get the marching ants around the image. And then I say edit copy, and then I come back over to this image and I say edit paste. And the problem with this is currently I can tell already it's not the right size, and I don't even know where to put it. So if I change up here in my layers panel my opacity, so I'm working on the layer that has all of the photographs on it. If I'm working on that specific layer and I go to opacity and I move this down, you can see that I can get some translucency there, so I can see through and see where this is going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down, actually I'm not going to hold the shift key down, but I'm going to go to my move tool, make sure that show transform controls is checked so that I see my bounding box, come to the corner, and I can start to drag this out by the corners until I get a reasonable fit. I might have to play around with this a little bit and maybe even drag it out a little bit past the edges, and that's okay. And then if I want to, I can use the arrow keys to nudge this around to make this fit. And when I'm happy with what I have, the next step is I think I'd like to remove the background. Other things you could potentially do, just to show you, so I can take this now and I can go to all these different blending modes and do all kinds of crazy things as well, like that. But some of those are going to give you highly desirable results and some of them not so much. So like overlay looks pretty good, except it's black on black, which doesn't really work for me. So I'm going to go back to normal and I'm going to get rid of this background right here. So easiest way I know how is if I go to the magic wand tool. So to find that, again, if you have your quick selection tool, mouse down, grab to magic wand tool, make sure it's not set on contiguous, and I'm going to set currently the tolerance to 10%. Tolerance to 10, let's see what that does. And you can see that if I click, it grabs all of the stuff in between the letters. Now if I want to add to it, I hold down the shift key, and I'm going to click now in this space right here. You can see I grabbed a little bit more. What I don't want to do is grab on the black, because if I do, it's going to select that area. But I definitely want to get a little bit more of this gray here. So I'm going to come to an area. Again, it might be a good idea to zoom in when you do this and grab a little bit more gray. And you can see every single time I do this, it grabs a little bit more. That's pretty good. It's not perfect. Like I can see that I had that area in there. Let's see what happens. Okay, that looks better. And I think I've gotten pretty much everything I want. And then I can just go ahead and say edit cut, and it takes all that out. And now if I wanted to make all this black or whatever color, I'm going to select anything but the image, go to select inverse, and now I have this all selected. And check this out. If I come in with this a brush and I pick the color black, I can just go ahead and draw in here, and it's hard to see with the portrait there, but I just made all that completely black. And the great thing about this is I can make it any color I want to. So if I wanted to, just to show you, so I'm going to bring this back up and let's see, select all that, move this around. First of all, that gives me a better idea of what I have. But if I wanted this on this black background and it just doesn't show up well, I can come back in. Looks like I have a couple portraits visible here. That's weird. I can come back in again with this, click on the background of the image, if it lets me. Again, select inverse. And now if I wanted to, I could, for example, go crazy with rainbows. Watch this. I'm going to go to my gradient tool, which is over here. And let's just get a default rainbow color just to show you. And I'm going to make it radial, and boom. So that's one of many. That's a little crazy. I don't really like the way that came out, but you can actually have color interactions, and you, again, I can go in with my blending modes and really kind of play around with maybe making that a little bit more subtle. That's a little bit too subtle, but you get the idea. All right, so have some fun with this and see what you can do.